The Business Owner's Journey. I'm Nick Berry, and I've got real business owners telling their real stories, sharing their real lessons and strategies so you don't have to figure it all out on your own. I'm wrapping up season 1 of The Business Owner's Journey with a special series, the 12 Days of Business. 12 days, 12 episodes with 12 of my previous guests. Today's 12 Days of Business episode, I've got Matt Diggity. Matt was recently a guest this fall, and of course we talked about SEO because, everybody knows Matt for SEO. The reason that I had him on the podcast was because I wanted to talk about how he's built his organization. We talked about his org chart, talked about partnerships, talked about hiring, and it all kind of revolved around this philosophy of hiring and partnering with A players and the effects that has on you, and how it, for all intents and purposes, should put you in your lane, let you apply your strengths and focus on doing those things and be able to rely on other people to do the things that they do really well. I like the philosophy. I think, like most things, it's easier said than done. Matt wasn't implying that it was easy, more that it was the best fit for him and for his organization. He did share some of the resources that have influenced him, and which I'm familiar with. He referenced the book Who, and that's where they've got some of their hiring practices from. The biggest takeaway, I think, probably from this segment that I'm going to share my conversation with Matt is that, yes, it is easier said than done, but it's not something that you just hope to happen. You don't just decide we're going to hire A players or we're going to build a team of only A players and the decision be what brings it to life. There are like practical steps that have to be applied. And so that's what we kind of got into. And I thought that was just an extremely valuable section of the conversation and information that Matt brought. So I wanted to bring that here and share that for the 12 days. And remember, make sure you're subscribed so you get the entire 12 Days of Business series. If you prefer, I can email them to you. And you'll also get the episode pages, exclusive guest profiles, and the resources that I'm only sending out through email. So if you want that, go to nickberry.info/12 days. That's the number 12 days. Now enjoy the show. You mentioned with your portfolio of companies, you essentially have an operator, or you call it an integrator. I call it an operator, but that they partner with you. What does your org chart look like in your organization?
It looks like this. Here's me, and then here's head of sales, and here's head of marketing, and here's operations. This is my branch. And then here's my partner's branch, operations. And I don't know what he has underneath him. We don't fiddle with each other. We don't question each other. I think as long as you're partnered with A players, like that's the best way to run it.
You mentioned one of the keys, hiring A players. How did you have your epiphany? How do you hire A players? Like, what's your angle on making sure that you're getting A players?
I mean, the biggest part of it is experience. So when you're first starting out, you're just like, all right, we have this new role we need to hire for. We're going to train up some intern or some, VA, and we're going to get a great deal on them. We're going to train them up, and, it's going to be great. That works in the beginning when you're bootstrapping and making money. But like when you're at the higher level and you can't afford the time sink of like putting into something and putting investment into someone and they don't work out, I think it's just not worth it. So the key thing I hire for is, have they done what we need done before successfully? And that just really structuring interview process around that. And a lot of that is, checking references. One of the game changer book that I had when it came to hiring is called Who, the A Method for Hiring, HWO. And it just took all this like mysticism out of the hiring process. It's just like breaks down at this stage, ask this question. There's no way to lie around it. Something like, when I talk to your former boss, what will they rate you on a scale of 1 to 10? And like they have to give an honest answer. Mm-hmm. And if they say 7, A players aren't 7s. A players are 8, 9s, and 10s. So you just immediately filter them with one single question.
I love that. I've read that book. That's where they took the top grading methodology and made it probably more practical. Using the references is a big part of it, right? And then just kind of making it clear to them, even the phrasing that you used of when I talk to your boss. So you're telling them right there, like, it's going to happen. So you may as well go ahead and let's get it all out on the table. Mm-hmm. And I think what you said at first, which I also agree with, and I think it's really important, is at a certain point, you just need turnkey. Let someone else pay to train them. go through the learning process, you need turnkey. And early on, that's fine. You don't have to do it that way. You probably can't do it that way. But the goal should be you need turnkey people on your team.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like like a B or C player in your organization is toxic. Like if someone's working inside, like there's A player room full of A players are doing their work, and they see C players getting away with like delivering subpar work, but getting the same wage as you. It starts to percolate down over to the A players, and then you just lost your company culture. But I really feel like it's really A players or nothing.
I love it. It's ambitious, but I love it. And this is the second time this week that I've used this Nick Saban quote. He made the comment or made some quote in a press conference, I believe, about mediocre people don't like high performers and high performers don't like mediocre people. And that's what's
Mm,
happening in your culture when that A player sees somebody getting away with B or C level shit. They don't want to be.
yeah.
They don't want to be in that environment.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, totally. Another funny thing along that same line of thinking is like, if you're trying to get references for a new hire, like you don't ask your B players. B players will never recommend someone that's going to make them look bad. A players refuse to work with B players, like you said. So, and they're worried about their reputation. So A players recommend A players, and that's
mhm.
probably one of the best places where I've gotten hires is just asking my existing A players, like, who do you know?
Yeah, the whole strategy begins to snowball and perpetuate itself, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so partnerships. Can you tell me about what's going on right now, partnership wise? Give a little insight to your approach there.
Yeah, well, partner wise, so I do angel investments and partnerships. In any kind of angel investment, I like to look for something where I can have an impact. So, for example, Surfer, the SEO SaaS tool I told you about before, like we grew to 15 million ARR, and I think a big part of that, or at least a non-zero part of that, is what I could help them with in terms of marketing and leveraging my audience and getting it in front of people that would love it. And also, we did a lot of product feedback too. So like with Angel, I'm gonna help you work with your business, but I'm not gonna work on your business. With partnerships, I like I talked about before, is like when we partner with law firms, real estate agencies, I'm going to be your marketing department, and you worry about selling condos, right? I'll take on your marketing. So these, I really don't have a spec for a business that I like to look for, but really into e-com, SaaS, and then any high ticket local business, real estate agency, law firm, stuff like
Okay. You got any success stories that you can share, experiences that
that.
you've had with those companies?
Sure. One that's still in the portfolio is Pre-Condo. They're a Toronto real estate agency, and we started with them from ground zero. And I knew the my partner Jordan just because he was like an ex SEO, and he's like, "Hey, I got to focus on this agency. Do you want to take over on the SEO and let's see where we can take this thing?" And we just got acquired by iRise Realty last year. Yeah, a little bit last year sometime. And I mean, it's exactly how it sounds. Like he was able to grow the business, hire agents, and all that stuff, sell condos, and we just took over on the marketing, and eventually ended up as the top pre-construction condo seller in Toronto, just by pure SEO. And also, he's focused on YouTube as well.
And got acquired, you said?
Yeah, we got acquired. It was awesome. Yeah,
Congrats.
thanks, man.
Yeah, it's not bad when that's not even the main goal, right?
Yeah, it's just a bonus. Well, I mean, the thing with SEO is like most of the time you're doing agency work for other businesses, you're helping them grow, which is fantastic and good for them. But like the downside for an SEO agency is a lot of times they'll just leave you when they got the results. We're at the top now. We don't need you anymore. Thanks for your help. When you're doing partnerships like we are, is like, well, we don't stop when you're at the top. We'll find other keywords. We're just going again to the moon, and then we get to participate in the upside. It's a
Hmm.
solid 1+1=3 compared to the agency model, which I don't. I'll take the agency model, but it's better for a partnership.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you so much for listening. If you found the show valuable, you can say thanks and show your support simply by taking a quick second to like, share, and comment on the show. You can also find more information about each of my guests, all of the resources from the show, and myself at nickberry.info/TBOJ.